Welcome. I am Crimey Queen, and if you're joining us for the first time, this is where we are having fun with words and numbers. We are understanding the earth that we live in, we are understanding the heart that dwells within us. We understand that they are synonymous, the earth and heart, when we spell HEART, which is the heart within us, and then we extend it out. Of course, we use the H as a ladder to extend it out, and then we have earth, EARTH. That's what it is. Mirror image. We could say that. We are mirroring. We are, when we understand that, when we look at these two words, for instance, we can see the power that dwells within us. We can see the creation of God. We can see the art that is around us. We can see how food becomes so influential in our behavior. Hence, talking about food, all the stories are the same. Wasn't it Jacob and Esau who had this thing? I'm talking about scriptures here now because Esau by right was meant to have the birthright uh, of his father, and I think it was for the cost of a bowl of soup or something like that. Of course, mother was involved too, but he lost his birthright, and Jacob, his brother, really got all the inheritance. Okay, something to that effect. But I'm talking about food. It is showing how a plate of food or a bowl of soup. It might have been just lentils with hardly any seasoning or something to that effect. But it cost him his birthright. It cost him um, not being the one leaving the legacy of the 12 nations or something to that effect. Well, there is so much, and we see that happens in families. They sit at the table and there's a fight over the piece of bread. Who has the last bite, or who stole my food, or who had the last apple? And it goes on. It's all about that food. It's all about how we have been conditioned to believing that the food, the edible food that we eat, is the only substance that we need. No, it is not the only substance that we need. And God, who created man, as we learn in the scriptures, when he breathed in man's nostrils and he became a living soul, he understood he was living and did not perhaps necessarily need to eat as much. I don't know. But when he breathed, that's when he became a living soul. Okay, so we understand again the apple is symbolic. The apples is symbolic because it means five. It is that external representation of what is in that direct correlation as, according to Emmett Fox, nothing can come into your consciousness unless it finds something like itself within you onto which to attach itself to. Something to that effect. Now, I like this. It's like saying it could be the apple, but the apple is the vibration of the apple we are talking about. It's not just an apple, it is the vibration, it's what it holds, it's that substance that it leaves, it's the thoughts that it creates, it's the thought processes that takes place, and the perception or dimensions that you go into. It's like people are saying about magic mushrooms, for instance, or herbs they could take to get into different dimensions. It's the vibration that we are talking about right here. Okay, so this is what I'm trying to encapsulate the essence of these stories. The stories is that of all the scriptures, we see it's about food, it's about the essence of food have been used. So scripturally speaking, what we see in the outside in the world, and we even to some extent um, condemn and say, oh, the corporate world, they are using food to control us and all of those things. There is a direct correlation of that influence or vibration in the scriptures, and it derives from Genesis of chapter 1, verse 1, with the word created. Created. There's a car, there's a car, there's a rat, there's a treat, there's a people are treading on each other's toes. The word toe is not there, but it's not far off. There is T and E. Um, and There are so many words here. They tear each other down. People are crying because their words, the word tear. There also is the word create. They ate, they eat, they're at a certain place, they drink tea. The word tea is there. There is always a cat as well. Now, I just had this impression about having a cat there as well, because the word cat has been also associated with the feminine. Need I say more? So we can see how everything had been in this, encapsulated in the word created, apart from the word breath, which the D could also look like a B, but anyway, we could see how close it is. So, um, what I would like to, to continue on, I'd like to continue on here. So these are words that also derive from the words we have been doing. Of course, we see from heaven because we have been exploring the word heaven. God created the heaven and earth. So heaven, I hadn't touched on heaven much with the past, maybe the two last presentations, but we see what we are doing. We are trying to even out the understanding and structures of how we have digested those lessons that we learned that no longer serves us. They probably had their place, and I think they did in all essence, to be very honest. It's like telling your child, don't touch the hot stove. But after a while, they learn, okay, that I can touch the hot stone as long I could just pull my hand very, because that's part of their development. Okay. And so this is the same thing I think has applied to us in what we were taught from the scriptures, the kindergarten teaching. And it depends on um, our willingness to grow, our willingness to know. That would determine how much we learn. Okay, all right. I thought I was just gonna throw a couple of rhymes in here, but nevertheless, okay. Our willingness to grow, that would determine our willingness to know. Or our willingness to know would determine our willingness to grow, which the two are the same. Okay, so knowledge is growth in this sense. Okay, I'm just saying NOWKNOWGROW. Okay, well, we can see the relationship. Okay, so back to there's another word, hat. There's hat. This is meant to be hat. So, of course, especially I hardly do without my hat when I'm in the hot tropical islands. So hat is very, very um, important. So hat, again, the H is always seen to me like a ladder that takes, it's either you are coming down or you are going up, but the H is always like an instrument of, it's like a tool, or it's like a tool. It is a tool. A ladder is a tool. It is a apparatus that you can use to get you to your destination, which is would be where you would be at. And of course, where your position, where if you had a tear, it tells you where you're at in your heart, in your eye. It tells you where you're at. And I spoke about heat in a heated argument or a heat of passion. There we are as well. The he I spoke about in my other presentations because I noticed the word he or her in this case in hair, of course. So we have a masculine and a feminine in the air, of course, in the heat of passion. So we can see the H here as well. So heat could be passion, it could be an argument, it could be love passion, it could be anything like that. Of course, as we say, we have looked at food. Now let's look at the word rare. I did talk about rare, meaning, of course, we could look at rare has nine on either ends. So rare is really giving the indication of continuum. As far as I'm concerned, that's what rare means. So let's look at REAR here. Can you see that? No, I am speaking for you too. Oh, this is really okay. So REAR. So we have 9159. So this is what I mean. I love nines and I love five and I love one. So there we see. Because 9, I have explained how 9 is formed. 9 is really 10, but it is the formation, is the mirror aspect of 10. It's the mirror aspect of 10 coming together and starting another cycle. So when we speak of rare, when we speak, of course, we use rare in different contexts. Something is rare. It means like, of course, um, it probably really still means the same, but we use it in the context of its rarity. It's not common. It's unique. It's we use rare doors, the side doors, the back door. We use that rare in the sense of we are not, it's not always in our face. So that means that there is a cycle in the word rare, because once we are occupied with it, it still comes, we are still able to take it into the present. Anytime we are engaged with what we can, as long as we can say rare or we can identify with it, it means that it is that cycle. We are in cycle with it. It is like from air to air, basically. I like that. Isn't that delicious? Okay. Now I think yes. So I didn't really go on to the word have, and because I think that in itself explains everything here. It's like the word heaven is telling us in that sense we have all of these in our makeup. All of these things that I have mentioned here is really in our biological system, in our biological makeup. And so we need to be mindful when people are presenting things to us in an external way. It's not saying to disassociate ourselves with that, because we are about oneness and wholeness, but it's just being mindful. It's not about if we were to pay more attention to the external than the internal. It's like, for instance, I have done this presentation and found out that the tongue actually has a numerical value of 10, and when it is said that the tongue is a powerful tool. So that makes me more mindful about my body, my words, or how I'm using this. It's like saying, it's like confirming the thought or the notion that the tongue is a double-edged sword. Now, I like this as well because it's one of those things that is centered. We are centered with it. It is like showing that we can use it as it rolls. It becomes that ball. It's our words. It's like people would say, "Oh, it just roll on the tip of my tongue." They have the art of oration so eloquently. Oh, the words just flow, it just rolls on the tip of my tongue. So we are using that motion of movement of vibration, which is in the central part, and that is what glues the polarities. That's what glues the left and right and helps us to get that balance and equilibrium. So I think I want to end this presentation, since we are talking about the tongue and talking about words and using that as a form of knowing that we can use words to heal ourselves, that we can use the words in that vibration to make not only ourselves but others whole, to help others on this journey. And so I think it is really a wonderful tool. Hence, it also equals when we eat, when Eve ate of the fruit, which equals 8, we can see how, say, 10 and that motion of eating and 8 became 9. We could see how 9 is in the mouth as well. We can see how 9, so the mouth is pinnacle to 9. It's in the middle of 9, the whole. So really, that is why it is said that the word beginning equals 9 and end, the word end equals mouth. Because they are really one and the same. But now I am seeing, if we were to take our mouth as an example, it really is a wonderful expression of or expression of that 5 that we are. Okay, lovely. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for taking your precious time to um, be part of this journey. I hope you have found it fun. I hope you have found it enlightening and enjoyable. Please click the like button and share, because this is how we do it. We share to actualizing self-full love. Stay blessed, stay bright, be a field, because we are planting new seeds and spill over with love. Namaste.